Hi guys, welcome to Idle Hands Movie Chats. We're going to be chatting with some guests about this crazy film from 1999. So I'm just going to add everyone in. Let me... And then I always forget who I've added in, like, first, and then I have to wait till they appear, and then I think, ooh, who have I added? Hi, Karen. Are you okay?
I am good. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad.
Happy
Um,
Friday.
I forgot who I haven't added in. Josh.
Josh.
Oh dear, invite Josh. Hopefully, I've done that right, and everyone will appear. You never know. Sometimes it goes very wrong. Hi, Josh.
Hey.
Hi.
And we've got Brian joining us as well, so I'm just waiting for him to appear. I'll just check if he's here. Brian, invite Brian on. Let's see what happens.
Love it.
Yeah.
And he's
Love
got
your
all the
green
different
background.
store facts. Yeah.
Ooh, spooky. Oh, it was like for the
Yeah.
hand. I was like, oh dear. Right, Brian's there, so let me just invite him on. Hopefully it'll let Brian join us. Fingers crossed. I'm loving the yellow hat.
Oh, thanks. The house is pretty chilly.
Hi,
So,
Brian.
Hello.
Hiya.
hello, everybody.
Hello. If you can't see me, there is an Instagram glitch. So whoever I add in last normally can't see me. They can just hear my voice. So.
I can see everybody.
Oh yay! They
Hooray.
fixed it. Yes.
You broke the curse.
You broke the curse, Brian.
Yeah. And I don't have to cut off anybody's hand then.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's lucky. I'm just going to turn you up because I can't hear everyone. There we go. Oh dear. So welcome. Thanks for joining us. And we're going to be chatting about Idle Hands, which was crazy revisiting after all these years. Yeah, it was a crazy one. So joining us tonight, we've got the brilliant Josh Winning, so author of The Shadow Glass and Burn the Negative. Woohoo! And you did a cover reveal a couple of weeks ago for your new book, Heads Will Roll. And if you haven't seen it, check it out because it looks amazing. I can't wait, Josh. Cannot wait. And we've also got the brilliant Brian Macaulay, who's author of Curse of the Reaper, which I've got on my Kindle, and this brilliant festive treat, Candy Cane Kills. Which are the cover art on this, Brian, is just
It's
phenomenal. Amazing.
They knocked it out of the park. I was so
Yeah, they really did.
The VHS vibes.
Yeah, it's so cool. Oh, it's so brilliant. And me and my friend Melina are going to be buddy reading this like next week, I think. Next week in the run up to Christmas. We thought we'd save it. We've resisted, but it's been hard because we want to read it together. That's it. Have the full experience. And unfortunately, Emma can't join us because she's busy working super hard at the bookshop, and it's Christmas, and you know what it's like. So Karen is joining us. Yay! And Karen has just completed NaNoWriMo in November.
What?
Yeah.
First draft for the first time in my life. I finished the first draft of the whole book. See you never know. 24, maybe.
Yeah, so we'll be seeing that soon, hopefully, Karen. Fingers crossed.
Taking a break.
I don't blame you. Don't blame you after doing NaNoWriMo.
A little bit.
Murderous hands.
It's very murderous. It was all about serial killers, so.
Ooh, I'm interested, Karen, already. So Idle Hands is a touching coming of age story about a teenage boy and his right hand, literally. Um, so essentially, it's about an ancient demonic entity that takes control of one of Anton, played by Devon Sawyer. I don't know whether I say that right. Karen can correct me.
Devon Sauer.
Sauer. It takes over his limb and his hand, I should say, not his limb. Could go wrong, and begins to commit ghastly murders that shock his small town. So it received kind of negative reviews on release from critics, and it kind of bombed at the box office. And I think it only grossed something like 4.2 million. And I think it had a 25 million budget. But despite this, over the years, it's gained like a cult following, and everyone seems to love it and enjoy it now. And the title is literally taken on the saying, idle hands are the devil's playground, which derives from the Bible. So we've been very educational with this film.
Eyebrow.
Makes a change for us. And there's some fun facts that I found, and then I will stop talking. So it's the same hand that appears in the Addams Family, as Thing, that's played by Christopher Hart, which I didn't realise. Apparently it was filmed in the same neighbourhood as Halloween. Apparently. Whether this is true, I don't know. And the school gym where the Halloween dance is held is the same gym used for the high school gym in Buffy the Vampire Slayer and the movie Jawbreaker. What? And I was like, wow! I love it already. So was Idle Hands a first time watch for you, or have you seen it before, or what were your memories of it, Josh?
It kind of felt like a first time watch because I haven't seen it since it first came out on video. I think it was like, it must have been like 2000, so like over 20 years, which is just crazy.
Yeah.
I had like a vague memory of something happening in a kitchen, and then when that scene came around, I was like, oh, okay, that's why I've got like kitchen memory for some reason. So yeah, first time in a long time.
Yeah. How about you, Brian?
Similarly, I saw it for the first time on VHS, and I have a distinct memory of watching it like in broad daylight, which makes me think it was a sick day rental. That's what I used to do when I was homesick from school, was like rent a movie.
Oh, love it.
Oh yeah, and I remember watching it more than once, whether I rented it again or just watched it multiple times when I rented it, because I had so much fun with it back then. But I had literally not seen it since that VHS rental, so it was pretty wild to go back.
Yeah, it was a wild revisit. How about you, Karen? Have you seen it before?
Yeah, I've seen it quite a lot before. It was one of those blockbuster video rentals of my childhood that I got before I went off to uni. And much like yourself, I watched this in the daytime because I'm terrified of horror films, and I figured I'd seen Casper. That's a horror film to me. And it was fine because it had Devon Sauer in it. So I ended up watching the daytime with my dad, having rented it from Blockbuster and then getting a slushie from 7-Eleven, sitting there like, this will be scary, and then being, oh, it's actually okay, I can watch this.
Oh, I love that. My memories, all I remember is like bits of it. I don't actually remember like when I first saw it, but I used to hang around in the video shop around the corner from me quite a lot, and I do remember it vaguely being on like on, you know, the TV screens that they used to have. So I'm wondering if I had never seen the whole film as in a complete form, and I'd just seen bits on this TV screen in the video shop. So I really remember the scene where you know, in the basement when he gets his head decapitated. You know, surprise, that's the bit I remember. But yeah, that's kind of my memories. But yeah, it just brings back memories of like old video shops to me.
Yeah. Was it the same for you in the 90s where you'd watch like 20 minutes of a film before having to go out because you had to go and do things, and you come back with the other part of it? Because I have lots of where I've seen it, but in parts.
Yeah. No, I'm like that with a lot of films. I've just never have seen it from end to end. Like Stand By Me, everyone always goes, you haven't seen Stand By Me, but I have, but I've just seen it disjointed. So how would you describe the movie to someone who's never seen it? Brian?
I would probably pitch it as a like 90s like teen stoner comedy mashed up with an Evil Dead style supernatural horror comedy, because I feel like it's much more teen comedy forward rather than horror forward, and then that the horror is like the added layer on top. And I know it came out the same year as American Pie, so I feel like it was in that era when like raunchy teen comedies were like the thing, and this one just happens to have much more murder in it than your average.
I forgot it came out the same year as American Pie. Yeah, of course it did. So that's kind of, yeah, that kind of humour was very much that year, really, wasn't it? The thing of the year. How would you describe it, Karen, to someone who's never seen it before, who wants to watch it?
Maybe like comedy horror for people who are absolute wussies with horror. It is horrifying, but it's funny. Like, you've got the pumpkins where they run into them and they fall over, and you've got dead bodies, but you don't really see the stuff that's happening. It's a bit like the old Peter Jackson movies from before he became famous, where he just chucks a bucket of blood, and you don't actually see the stuff that's really horrific.
Yeah, that's so true. That opening scene though was really good.
Yeah,
I thought it was cool. How about you, Josh? How would you describe it?
I would describe it as American Pie meets Jackass via an American Werewolf in London.
Yes.
Because it's like Brian said, it's got that American Pie, boys being boys kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then it's got the ridiculous shenanigans going on, like them hurting each other and all that kind of stuff, very Jackass. And then you've got like the dead friends who are sort of haunting the main guy. So yeah, it's definitely a weird one.
Yeah, I think it's like really hard to explain to someone. Like, I was trying to explain to my husband, like, yeah, it's about this and this, and he was like, this sounds very strange. It's a hard one.
It's such a great idea, though. The idea of the killer hand is just such a great idea.
Yeah, no, definitely. I just saw someone earlier say, I love candy cane kills. I think is it Cayenne? I don't know if I'm saying that right, but yeah.
Thanks so much.
And Mighty Peter says, hey ho from Dublin, I love Brian and his work. And I think it's Cayenne, I think I'm saying that right, saying Ida Hands is a great movie. The Offspring were in it. And that was so cool. Like, they had like 2 songs as well in it, and then they actually played a role in it. I just thought it was cool.
Yeah, I love that I can imagine he was probably pretty stoked to get his
It's like if you were doing a cameo in a movie, then like how would you like to die, or what would you like to be remembered for? Like, I would be remembered for the person who gets killed off first, 100%, because we all know I'm not surviving a horror movie. But what about you, Josh? What would you like to be remembered for if you was a cameo in a movie? God.
Maybe like a voice on the phone.
Ooh.
Just like one that's a bit, you don't really miss it if you didn't go on the IMDb kind of thing, that kind of camera.
Oh, I like that. You'd be scary as well. You'd be like, hello, Shelley. How about you, Brian? If you could do a cameo, like, what's your dream?
I mean, I think one of my favorite tropes is the harbinger, the like herald of doom in the movie, who in Act 1 like warns the kids not to go to the camp, and that's a role that I include in Candy Cane Kills, because I just can't not, and I would love to play that, to be the person who just like, oh, you're doomed.
You do that so well. Like, I was convinced. I'm not going. Not going. If Brian says don't go, we don't go. Oh, how about you, Karen? What would you like to cameo as?
Being a cameo for like a really cool character, I want to be like super background. I did a live with Eddie a while back, and we were discussing the best thing that you could do in the background of a movie, and I wanted to be that, in Ghostbusters, where you have the librarian who's walking around and he doesn't do much other than pulling a few things out of the bookshelves, but just being able to walk around and talk about the people's shoulders. I would just like to be just lurking, walking in the background of a few shots,
lurking in the
see,
background.
like nothing's happening.
Oh
going
yeah.
around, but I'm just sitting here, just like, yes, I'll just read my book.
I like that. I like that. I think we'd all make pretty good cameos, definitely. Hi, Sharon. Sharon's put, I prefer Devon. I'll never say his name right. I'm just going to call him Devon. I prefer Devon in Final Destination. So, what did you think of him in this film? Like, he was kind of like I was going to say he was very hands-on, and that wasn't a pun. That was really accidental. But he was. I'm here all week. Yeah. He was very like, he really got into the role, I thought, and like, you know, the stuff he was doing with his hand cleanly was very like, he really got into it. What did you think, Josh? Do you like him in this or prefer him in Final Destination?
He's really intense. Like, he doesn't stay still. Like, for a stoner, he doesn't stay still for pretty much a good, the back hour of the film. He's great. And I love the fact, like, I read an interview with him where he said that when he went in for the meeting for this film, the script was completely different. The script was more about the possessed mum. And there was like one scene where he got to do something funny with his hand and not like that. And he went into the meeting doing all like the kind of, because he was obsessed with Evil Dead 2 and like Bruce Campbell. And so he went into the meeting being basically Bruce Campbell in Evil Dead 2. And they cast him and rewrote the script basically around him and his hand. So
wow.
It's such a, he was kind of born to do it essentially. I think he's great.
Yeah. Oh wow, I didn't know that, Josh.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever met him? Like, I'd love to know what he's like in real life.
No.
Oh, how about you, Brian?
I'd be passed out.
Oh, you'd be passed out? Yeah, Cameron is a huge fan. Aren't you, Cameron? Just a little bit.
I was on a flight with him once, but he started screaming and got
off.
I nearly fell for that then. I was like,
the thing on the table wasn't broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear, obviously Brian got off that plane. So did you like him in this, Brian, or did you prefer him in Final Destination or anything else you've seen him in?
I did. I thought he was great in this. I think that physical comedy is pretty underrated to be able to pull that off for a whole movie. But I will say, I think for me, Seth Green kind of steals the show, as like his comedic delivery is pretty consistently, and I remember that from the first time I saw it, that he was the one who really had me laughing the most. But I think Devon certainly anchors it with that physical comedy aspect.
Yeah, Seth Green's so good.
Yeah.
Especially around that time as well, and he did quite a lot of films, and the one I always remember is Without a Paddle. I'm sure he was in that, and that film even now still cracks me up when they're in the bear cave and it's just Seth Green's face that just does it all. It's so funny.
I love the image of that bottle in his head. And like when he first falls on the floor, you can hear the water inside the bottle. It's great.
Yeah, so cool. And it's so like unexpected at that moment, isn't it, as well? It's just like really quick. Well, I didn't well, obviously I did, but you know what I mean. It's just like very quick. How about you, Karen? Did you like Devon in this film?
I love Devon in this film. I love Devon in this film. I think the original one for me, though, was always going to be Casper, that "Can I Keep You" moment. Like, that, my little awakening as a small child. Just studying him. But no, I found him really funny. And he's quite, I don't know what the word would be. Like, he had the remote control at one point in the scene where he's sitting on the sofa and he's realising his hand's possessed. And he throws it somehow. And I had to go back and, like, rewind it 2 or 3 times to see, like, how the hell did he do this? Because the remote flies over and he, like, catches it and stuff and he's running around. And it was just really cleverly done. And I was sitting there like, well done, mate. Like, if I had to stop and rewind to see how the hell you did that.
He was so good. He was really good. Brilliant. Sharon's put, I thought it was such a fun film. And I love Seth too. Yeah, it was brilliant. Oh, I love your Gremlins t-shirt, Shelley. Yeah.
Ah,
Gotta rep the Gremlins. My favourite. I'm going to rewatch it later as well. That's why I'm wearing it.
are you going to watch Gremlins 2?
Oh, I do like Gremlins too.
I
Are we a
rewatched it the
fan?
other day. It's crazy. I've forgotten how crazy it is. It's great.
I have to confess, I love it more than the original. Like,
Yeah, it is. It's really close. Because I think I remember Gremlins 2 more than
Yeah.
Gremlins 1, obviously because the era, but yeah, I do. I'm partial to Gremlins 2. And obviously like the lipstick matches the female gremlin, like
Yeah.
so I'm fully repping the gremlins in all shapes and forms tonight. Just don't feed me after midnight. Oh dear. So what do you look for in like a horror comedy, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like physical comedy is so central to horror comedy because horror is such a physical genre that it has to have that good mix of not just like verbal zingers, but like Shaun of the Dead is a great example of like having that physical comedy element. But I feel like sometimes it falls into two camps. I think of like this movie I would think is like comedy horror, like I was saying, where like it's first and foremost a teen comedy and then there's added horror. Whereas like Evil Dead 2 has all the makings of a horror film in terms of the location and plot and atmosphere, and it's got a comedic tone. So I think when a film knows which kind of genre is forward and leans into that is when it succeeds most. And if it's somewhere in the middle, it can kind of get muddled a little bit.
Yeah, no, definitely. How about you, Josh? What makes a good horror comedy for you?
I think that for me it's like self-awareness because I'm kind of like the kid of the Scream school where my favorite comedies horror comedies are the ones that are very self-aware and they know their horror films, they know the tropes of horror films, and like that goes back to like The Howling and The Gremlins where they know what the audience is expecting from the horror film and they know how to subvert that and play it for laughs. But then also like when to play it for the horror as well.
Yeah, definitely. And as Brian said, Shaun of the Dead, to me, like if I think of a horror comedy, that's the first one that kind of springs to mind for me. Just because I think they did it so well, and you can never listen to Queen again properly. How about you, Karen? What makes a good horror comedy for you?
See, I'm slightly different because I'm the biggest wuss, as you guys know. I can never watch the movies you guys watch. I into the chat to watch them. I think for me, it's having the horror part there, but it's not ever seen. So, like, one of the ones that I really like is Tucker and Dale versus Evil, where you have the whole movie, and they're meant to be evil, but it's just people running into trees themselves. Like they're just stabbing themselves and running into like those. I forgot what the machine's called.
The chipper.
The chipper, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, running into wood chippers and things, and then everyone's screaming and saying, "Oh my goodness, there's horrifying people in the woods," and it's actually just being clumsy. And that's the kind of horror that I like, that I can kind of laugh and be like, "Yeah, okay, it's fine."
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's why I thought. I think Karen will be okay with idle hands. I thought, I think it might be okay. Eddie's video says, "What is everyone's favourite Devon Sawa?" Getting there. Which is, I can't speak tonight. I'm so sorry. What is everybody's favourite Devon film? So obviously Karen's Casper.
It is, but I've also got an added extra one because he just did a Christmas movie that's a little bit horror-y, and it's super fun. And he's an adult, so I can actually like lust after him again. It's I have
it's acceptable
adult version. I love that he's like coming with me as I age, he's aging with me in film. So
he's like unrecognizable now. He's like a beefcake.
I know.
Yeah, definitely. Karen's like, yeah.
No complaints.
So he's in a Christmas horror film. I'll have to need to look this up.
Yeah, It's
Oh.
I won't tell you too much, otherwise I'll spoil it. But go watch it. It's just based in like the equivalent of like a Kmart kind of shop.
Oh, it's called
Oh.
Black Friday? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Okay, I'll be watching that.
Yeah.
Definitely. How about you, Josh? What's your favourite film that he's been in? I feel like I haven't seen him in too much.
If I'm really honest and fickle about this, I would probably say Now and Then, which is the 1995
Love that.
Christina Ricci. He plays like one of the
Oh.
wormy wormers.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just love it. It's like the female Stand By Me is what it was kind of branded as when it came out. But
Oh.
he's like the crush in it. So I just love that film so much.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that.
It's terrible, but so
Yeah.
it's like the grown-up versions of the characters are like Rosie O'Donnell, Demi Moore, what's her name?
Oh,
Thingy Wilson,
wait.
Tom Hanks's
I
wife,
think I might have seen
Rita
it, yeah.
Wilson. And then the young kids are like Christina Ricci and Thora Birch. And I can never remember her name, but she's amazing. She was in Girls as well as a grown-up. Oh, I can't remember her name, but it's great. It's really fun. I recommend checking it out.
Oh, okay. It's ringing a bell. It's probably one of those I've like seen in passing, maybe, but I'm gonna check that out. What about you, Brian? Have you got a favourite Devon film?
I think I gotta go with Final Destination because
Yeah,
that
same.
movie, like, yeah, hit at the right age, and that franchise I love so much. It's just so fun. And he was
Yeah.
in the first one and kicked it all up, and they very unceremoniously killed him off screen in the sequel by
Yeah.
saying that he was killed by a falling brick. I'm like, the whole franchise is built on like these elaborate death set pieces, and they're like a brick fell from the building and
I know they could have made it like more elaborate, like how to kill him off, but maybe it was punishment because they wanted him for the second film, so they were like, "Yeah, we'll just say it was a brick."
Yeah, did he want to do it?
feels
But
like
then
that.
did he say no to doing the sequel?
Probably. I mean, Ali Larter came back, so I
Yeah.
assume that was maybe because he said no, or maybe they offered both. But yeah, it does feel like they were like, "Fine, the brick for you."
Yeah.
Death by brick, punishment.
I think I in my answer to a previous question though, because I've just realised that the only way I can watch a horror film is if Devon Sawa is in it. Casper, Final Destination, one in the supermarket. This one.
You're gonna have to watch the Chucky TV series.
Oh,
Then.
yeah.
Oh no! Is it?
Yeah.
When it's Chucky, I can't watch Chucky the movie because dolls running at you and trying to stab you, terrifying. I just can't. I sit there like this and. Is it as bad as the movie?
There's a lot of murder in it, so.
Murder I can do. It's like the sneaking around in the dark and then like.
Yeah.
I think we should just make Karen watch it and then just like get her to film her reaction.
Oh my god! It would be me, like...
Karen versus Chucky.
Because the scenes when Devon's on, she'll be fine. It'll be fine. Eddie's video said that his favourite Devon film is Wild America.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Oh yeah! Oh my god!
That's also a
I've not
horror
seen that in a
film.
long
Goes down a
time.
hill and breaks his leg, and there's a massive snapping noise, and it's like
Ooh.
one all over again. So I have to
I've not
fast.
seen that one. And then Eddie has put a lot of laughy faces and said, "Wow, Karen," because obviously Devon. Sharon's put, "I love Gremlins, but I'd wear Brian's tee. That's more horror." Yeah. And then Sharon's put, "The deaths are so good in Final Destination." Yeah, except for
yeah.
is it Final Destination 4? Oh, has anyone seen that? That is just the only death I remember in that is a swimming pool. I think that's the fourth one.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
The riff on the Chuck Palahniuk story. Got
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. But yeah, Final Destination 4. You can just skip over that one.
Yeah, I don't
It's
bother with that
not
one.
great. Nah. Let's go straight to number
5.
5.
Good.
Yeah, that was good.
There's a new one. There's a new one coming out soon.
Oh
Next year?
yeah, next year.
Yeah, the filmmakers pitched over Zoom, and in their Zoom, they killed themselves off using special effects. Actually, one of them was
Wow.
killed by
God.
a ceiling fan that dropped and decapitated them in the
Oh,
middle of the
wow.
That's great.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's how
Can
you
you
get a
see
job.
that like online somewhere? Did they post
No,
it somewhere?
there's just a description of it.
Oh,
Yeah, it's kind of like
wow.
a clever way to
That's
get the
so
job.
cool. That's almost like when Josh like played a trick on us on a live chat during Blair Witch and pretended to like fall over.
I
Yes,
don't know
I
what you're talking
remember
about.
Josh. Yeah.
I have no memory of that. No idea.
And me and Emma were like, Josh, are you okay? We remember. So tell us some of your favourite parts about Idle Hands. Like, have you got a favourite moment or a favourite scene? Josh?
There's two really funny moments with the dog, which I love.
Oh, yeah.
There's a bit where Anton reaches over to like close the dog's mouth because he's panting too loudly.
Yeah.
I understand his pain. And then the bit when he's like sliding the dog out from behind the door, and the dog's just like, what is going on? Yeah.
I was like, no, don't push the dog, because like I was
No.
thinking, please don't let anything
Yeah.
happen to the dog.
But then is the dog like pretty much off screen after that? He just runs away, maybe. I don't know. But, yeah.
He's probably just taking a nap and watching him.
Yeah.
Throws the cat out the window in a classic.
Oh, the cat.
Yeah. That poor cat.
Oh,
Great name for a cat, Bones.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah, those are great scenes. They were. What about you, Brian? Have you got a favourite scene?
I mean, I noted that the dog bit, that was probably the funniest shot, was the pushing the dog around the corner. But I also just love when the friends come back from the dead and they explain that like there was this white light and just said, fuck it. Like it was really far.
Like the idea that I was like, wait a second, watching it this time, I realized that like them coming back has no connection to the satanic hand possession. It's just because they're lazy stoners and they didn't go that.
They couldn't be bothered.
Yeah. And then my favorite like kill set piece was probably the cops. That was it was just high energy.
With the knitting
like,
needles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it gets into like Evil Dead kind of filming camera angles, and then it really pays off quite well.
Yeah, I love that scene though, because you just know what's coming. Like he's getting
God.
closer and closer and closer, and you're thinking it's gonna happen.
I love the thing about the friends just getting too lazy to go to heaven. I think that the thing that really stood out to me this time with the film was the way they really capture that like teen boy like malaise or like laziness or like I love the fact that he doesn't even notice his parents are dead in the house. You know, he's so lazy, wrapped up in his own little world. It's just done so well.
Yeah, mind you, I do say that to my teen quite a few times. I'll be like, oh, if I was dead in a ditch, you wouldn't notice. Because he doesn't reply to texts. He doesn't like answer his phone. Like the other week I was trying to phone him. I can't even remember what it was for now. And then when I got home, I was like, I could have been dead in a ditch. And his reply was, you've got a bright yellow car, Mum. Everyone will see you in that ditch. But we were... So, yeah, I feel like that is very reminiscent of a teen that might just walk around the house and not realise their parents are gone. Just enjoying every moment. How about you, Karen? Did you have a favourite scene?
I've got a couple, and it's mainly because I was just impressed. One of them was a Seth Green scene, and it's nothing special in the film. He just turns around and walks and chucks the he was about to eat something in the microwave, and he from the other side of the room he walks over casually as heck and just chucks it, and it hits the microwave.
Yeah.
And it goes to press it, and the microwave beeps before his hand hits the microwave, and I'm like, what's going on? I was so impressed that he managed to lob this thing across the room and get it in. That again, I had to stop and rewind and go, really?
I'd love to think he did that in one take as well. Like it was just a pure accident that he got it in the microwave.
If they did it 70 times, Get it? And the other one was when I noticed, and I brought something with me for this, when I noticed that they used this. Because I was,
Oh,
yeah. I can't believe you have
I
one.
was like, oh no.
Karen, don't put your hand in there.
Do it, do
This
it,
way,
do
but mine's
it.
got this on it. I think they must have like adapted it, stuck it upside down or something. But mine's got a cup. Like you can't. It doesn't do anything.
She says she doesn't like horror, but you know,
She protests too much.
we're not going round to Karen's house.
OT, not
Yeah.
movie. Like they had bagel slices, and I was like, oh, I eat bagels every day.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just
Oh
thought,
my
I
God.
thought
honestly,
it
this is the best thing in my kitchen.
lots
I
of
usually
severed
just hold
hands.
the bagel and cut towards my hand.
Yeah.
That's the proper way to do it, right?
The bagel in and just. And it
Oh,
cuts in half.
Karen, please be careful.
It's completely secure. It's got like covers on it the whole way through. But I was laughing though. If you look at the one, go back and have a look at it in the movie. It looks like they've taken like the top section here. That's like there. It looks like they've spun it upside down and put a sticker across the front of it to hide all of the logo.
Oh dear.
I'm going, that's my bagel slicer.
I love that you have one of those. That's just like
Honestly, if I could actually get my hand in there, I think it probably would cut your hand off if you could get it. It's quite sharp. So,
yeah. Melina's put Karen
I like
has a
it.
secret horror life. Mm.
That sounds like, do you remember we used to have on TV like 999 emergency, that program about emergency phone calls? No, do you remember that? And there was like
Oh yeah.
real life retellings of accidents people had
Things
in
that
their
have
home,
happened.
and there was one where a woman like shoved a carving knife through her palm because she was trying to cut two bits of separate two bits of frozen toast or something.
Oh.
And that's just like, that is stuck in my head since I was about 6 years old, is never ever cut towards your hand.
Oh.
You'll end up,
I got this because I can't use knives without. I've got like so many little marks on my hand from where I've cut myself with a knife trying to open a sandwich. So I got myself so it's much safer for idiots who can't use knives.
Oh dear. I've never thought of these things until you've just said. Now I'm just going to be like, keep the knife away, keep the cutting appliances away.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that scene with the throwing the burrito into the microwave. I thought that was brilliant. And then I love, funny enough, around that scene where Seth Green's character kind of like puts the fork through the head and then puts the head back on the body, and then he tries to eat the burrito and you just see it like oozing out. I was like,
I was having my lunch when I was watching that.
oh
That was one of his like pitch perfect line deliveries too, when he's like, "Oh, ew, that's disgusting." Like it's a very like 90s comedy delivery.
yeah. I feel that like whole scene with the burritos and that whole thing was just comedy gold. I just thought it was brilliant. And then putting the duct tape around, and then you could eat fine with the duct tape. A duct tape solves everything, you say.
I loved Aaron for life. I really love Seth Green in this for his character because he's just so nice the whole way through. Like he's always thinking about other people and like taping up their neck to stop him from dripping. You can't date that girl. You're dead.
That's true.
Just like always being on the right side of moral.
Oh, and really just put, I loved when Seth Green used the duct tape to stop the food from escaping. It was just brilliant. Sharon's put, my neighbour was in a cupboard under the sink when his son ran in. The knife block fell over and he hit a carving knife through his head. He was fine, but it was a great horror look.
I've seen in Final Destination as well. There was a girl's kitchen who fell over and then got like knives hitting her.
Oh.
Yep.
Teacher.
My goodness.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm
If
not
you
gonna
should
mess.
Were they on
Run.
999?
Oh gosh. So do you think that the characters, so Seth Green's character's Mick and the other one, I can't remember his name, but Penub, yeah, that was it. Do you think they were good friends to Anton, or were they just in it for themselves, Karen?
Yeah, because he murders them, right? And then they come like, I was annoyed about this, but I've had a date with him. I'm over it. It's fine. We're mates. I was like, that's exactly how, if any of us accidentally murdered the other and came came back from the dead, I think we'd all be like, I was ticked off about it yesterday, but we're cool now.
How about you, Brian? Were they good friends to Anton?
Yeah, I mean that's how, you know, all of my best friends have forgiven me for murdering them. So that's how I test to see if someone's a good friend.
The best
But yeah,
test.
I bought their friendship dynamics. It really felt like genuinely lived in. Like you really felt like they spent a whole lot of time in that basement together.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. How about you, Josh? Good friends, not so good? Would you forgive me if I
that's
killed you?
I forgive you for anything, Shelley.
Oh, thank you.
No, yeah, that's my point. Is like, yes, they love watching movies. They don't really go out much, and they eat lots of snacks. I feel like that fills my full criteria for friendship. Basically, it's just like staying, eating snacks, watching films. I do think they are pretty sort of like maybe unintentionally selfish. You know, they sort of just seem to wander through Anton's spiral of despair, you know, and just sort of like comment on it every once in a while. They're not really helping so much as just observing and creating more chaos.
Yeah, I agree. It's the scene like towards the end when the prom or the dance or whatever it is going on, and then they're going through the air ducts, like following the pretty girls because he thinks he's gonna get laid. And I'm just like, what are you two
And
doing?
he makes a really awful joke when he's like, you can go back and get a piece of her or something. It's
Oh,
like, oh God.
Yeah. I was like,
Those little
oh
quips that
dear.
are brilliant. That's what makes it.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I think Brian mentioned one of his favourite kills. Which one was your favourite kill again, Brian? Did you
The
say?
cops.
Oh,
I mean,
the
I feel like
cops. Yes,
that's a
sorry.
2-for-1 really, because yeah, the knitting needle and yeah, the way they exaggerated the like when his hand breaks free and they do that close up and he goes, oh
Oh
no,
yeah.
it's just like, and then the taser in the face, like, so gnarly.
Oh gosh, so painful. Oh dear. So did you have a favourite kill, Josh?
I love the knitting needle as well, but I also loved the air vent, like the extremely complicated, over the top air vent thing that happened. You know,
Yeah.
you think she's just gonna get hanged? Oh no, she gets full on dragged back up into it.
Yeah.
Those are the most like spacious air vents I've ever seen. Even in a movie where you know it's a fabrication, like the one at least makes it really cramped, but this is just like you could live in a studio apartment up in there.
Yeah, no,
it's like
definitely.
that bit in Galaxy Quest when they're like, why would this thing even be here? You know.
Oh dear, that scene was so great. I think that was one of my favourites because I was like, who's this random friend that's just appeared? She's obviously going to die. So you can see it coming. How about you, Karen? Did you have a favourite kill?
I like the one right at the very start where you've got the parents sitting in bed and the mother's knitting, and then they go to sleep and it says on the ceiling, I'm under the bed. Because that's the scariest thing for me is there's a monster under the bed and like all those things that you get when you're a kid that really creep you out.
Yeah.
And it's a nice little loop where they run around the whole house and like other stuff is happening and then they get back in the bed. Or she does.
Yeah.
The monster is under the bed. But it's also just with the fact that she's knitting, that was that maybe she at some point would have had an idle hand as well, because constantly knitting and there's like some kind of connection between her and the son that way.
That's so true.
Starts doing it, so I was like, maybe there's
because
like
she does it to like keep herself busy while she's waiting for her husband to come back.
Yeah.
Going, maybe there's like a little history in there as well of the demonic hand.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like they've just had the house redone as well. So like, they're busy keeping the house looking nice.
The house looked really creepy. Like it wasn't
Apparently
any time before that I would think that's a nice, like homely, like parental decor. It just looked like they lived in a horror house. All the walls were kind of dark, green. It wasn't like just a plain color. It looked like the paint was kind of melty. I was like,
One of the friends at some point comments on how like, oh, I know your parents go all out for Halloween, so I guess they're very, very big on the spirit Halloween decorations.
Yeah.
But it's wild when you like zoom out and you're like, this movie starts with the teen boy murdering his own parents. That's what we don't know it until later, but in retrospect, we're like, oh my god.
That's such a great twist that moment when they put the jumper together and he looks down at his hand with the blue neon. That's such a great moment where you're suddenly like, oh right, that's what this film's all about. Got it. Okay, because at first you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Then they're going, oh, it's an ant. You were killed by ants.
and then they go something like, oh, have you got an aunt?
Evil.
Oh dear.
I wonder how long he must have spent, like, whilst also smoking up, making sure that those pumpkins fit your head. Because I don't know if you've ever tried doing this.
Yeah.
But as a kid, I've definitely
Tried and failed.
to do it, and it's really difficult. You can't get a pumpkin that's the right size. You
And
a long time finding pumpkins. It's not like the parent.
it's just smelly as well. I love there's so many good kills in this, but I really love the one with the two, the boyfriend and the girlfriend in the car, and then like getting it on, and then his hand just comes up. And I just thought it was hilarious because this hand just like interrupts them and like lends a helping hand, and then all of a sudden you just see it's just, oh dear. But again, I love how the shot is like outside of the car, like, and you don't actually see what's like fully gone on in the car. It was brilliant. Melina's put there was absolutely no introspection. Melina, you're giving me big words. Introspection about the deaths at all. I killed my parents. Oh well. Am I saying that right? Is it introspection?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. I'm getting better.
I think what I was saying earlier though is that it's right. They're all very lazy about what they do, because even when when they've died and they've gone, oh, there's a big light, and it's just like, oh, it was too far. It's way down there. It's too far to walk.
Oh dear. So obviously there was some other characters. So there was Molly, the love interest, and then is it Debbie, who's like the hand hunter person. And then Randy, who I call the bloke out the Bon Jovi video.
Yeah, I got him for Bon Jovi as well.
I was like,
Crazy with Alicia Silverstone? Is he in that one?
Oh, is he? I think he's in Always, the Bon Jovi video. Because I was like, wait a second, that's the cheetah.
I had to look him up because I was like, wait, what do I recognize him from? He's in Event Horizon also.
Oh,
one of the like crazy survivors. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. So he's been in quite a few things actually, but I just know him as the bloke from Bon Jovi video. But yeah, he's like the neighbour, isn't he? Who kind of like loves Satan or something. So they weren't really like that much involved in the story. But do you think they were necessary to the story, Brian?
I thought Debbie, the hand hunter Randy subplot was served its purpose as a subplot.
Yeah.
I forgot how many movies of a certain era involved connecting dots on a map and realizing it's a pentagram. Like, such a thing. But I was like cringing the whole time for Jessica Alba and just being like, oh they really just did her dirty. Like, it was bad, especially when like he grabs her and her response is like, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Great.
Her character didn't really have much going for her.
No.
And like she takes him straight to her bedroom and it's implied they do have sex.
Yeah.
Like, immediately, you know, it's
I think they did a dirty there. And even more so when you know there is actually an alternative ending, which was different. And I think they changed the ending because people were saying, well, we want to see her with like no clothes on or something like that. So that's why they rip her close off at the end. And I kind of think, oh no, they didn't, no. We didn't need that, and they could have done a better character, really, couldn't they?
Have you watched, because the alternate ending from the DVD is on YouTube, so you can watch
Was it?
and
I
it's
watched it,
hilarious. Well, because the director introduces the scene, but it kind of looks like someone's holding a gun from the other side of the room. Like the way he's sort of like saying, "Now, sometimes films change, and that's fine. This is the ending this is the ending I wanted. Yeah, this is the ending I wanted. And I'm perfectly happy. Blah blah. It's hilarious. You should watch it."
Oh, I need to watch that. So,
Yeah.
so the alternative ending is set in a swimming pool. Is that right, or something?
And it's much more. It actually has a much more active Jessica Alba role. It's like her on the diving board as the hand is cornering her, and then the pool opens up to like a hell pit. And then there's great special effects of when Anton and Debbie come in, the arms, kind of like that scene from Day of the Dead where the arms come out of the wall and like pull them in.
Oh yeah.
It's got some really great effects, but apparently his excuse was that it tonally was more horror than comedy, so they decided to reshoot the school auto shop scene, because every school has an auto shop.
Random.
Yeah.
So Brian, would you have preferred the swimming pool scene over the ending that we got?
I do prefer the swimming pool scene. Yeah, I felt like first of all, the idea that the hand could somehow put her on top of the car and tie her up was just like logistically confusing. It was a little bit like weirdly elaborate, whereas the swimming pool one, it's definitely much more horror. But I feel like you're building up towards like, let's see hell. That's where we're going.
Yeah, that's true. How about you, Josh? Would you have preferred that swimming pool ending or the ending that we got?
I think the swimming pool ending kind of sidelines the friends. So in the ending we got has the friends far more active, and they actually kind of come up with a solution essentially, which is smoke some more weed and then you'll be stronger or something. Like talk about spinach and stuff. Which kind of like, I guess it kind of works. Like I could see a world where you kind of combine the two and they kind of get him to take a toke when he's on the diving board or something like that. But yeah, I think that I'm like Ryan. I think the swimming pool scene was far more like tense, and like having Jessica Alba just strapped to a car was just silly. And you can see like it looks like they shot it differently as well. Like they've got like the camera's a higher def or something. Like it stands out, I think.
And what do you think about those extra characters? Like the hand hunter, Debbie, and things like that. Do you think they were needed, Josh, in the film? Or
I love the idea of Debbie. I thought she was a great sort of like a Van Helsing style helper, but she didn't actually meet Anton until 10 minutes from the end of the film, when she suddenly explains everything to him and she's got this magical dagger. And I feel like if she'd come in a lot earlier, I don't know, maybe she belonged in a different film, because if she came in earlier, then you wouldn't get all the hijinks with the friends and it would become more about her, maybe. I liked her. I thought she was a really fun character. I love that she kind of got to slay the monster at the end, which she doesn't do in the swimming pool ending.
Okay.
So I liked her. I think Vivica Fox is great as well. Like she really sold that role. So yeah, maybe there wasn't really room for her. Maybe.
I wish they'd explored them more. How about you, Karen? What did you think of those extra little characters?
I really liked them, but I felt like they were adding them in almost as extra so they can make a sequel in the same way you've had like multiple Final Destinations. Do like another one because they had that love interest there that they could have like gone off into the sunset as the hunters, and they keep going and finding the next one, because she did say like I'm from a long line of these magical, I forget what it was, it's like not Wiccans, but like magical line of people who constantly seek these out, and I just happen to have a dagger. It's like, you can go to the next state and suddenly be in like Supernaturalville or something and take out more people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't seen the alternate ending, but I did really like where she throws it across the room, and then Seth Green just goes,
Yeah.
"That was really lame." Like, I was expecting to be like sucked into a hellhole or something. It's just like, that's it.
Oh, so great.
So,
Oh yeah, Melina's put the female characters are pretty dire, but I think, yeah, I just think
it's a 90s
they could
thing,
have
though.
been explored a little bit better and made Jessica Alba's character definitely
They definitely did
better.
that in the 90s, though, of making the females just there for
Mm.
showing off what they had, as opposed to being part of the.
And she
Yeah,
was like a
yeah,
total fantasy object. You know, she
Yeah.
wasn't real.
yeah, yeah. And I think I saw someone earlier mention about, or I liked her in the angel outfit, and she looked hot in the, in the angel outfit.
Doing
But I was like,
dancing to like the offspring.
Like jumping up and down, and then, yeah.
we've all been there, Josh. We've all been there to a bit of Offspring in the 90s.
Something though, because at the very start, and they could have like completely like blown my mind on this film. At the very start, they'd said, "Oh, like we're going to the this dance. Yeah, we don't want to go because we're not going to like get down to Hanson and Jewel." And I was like, they needed Hanson and Jewel because that would have been my favorite band, my favorite guy in the movie.
It would have been like your
crying.
dream movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I
the band was
love
like,
that. Oh dear. So we've mentioned there was some like brilliant one-liners and the comedy in the film. So did you have a favourite one-liner, Josh?
I did, and it was, I think maybe Seth Green says to Anton, "Don't you watch the news?" And Anton says, "I hate that fucking show."
Yeah, I like that one. How about you, Karen? Did you have a favourite one-liner?
I think mine's the one that I've mentioned before, where he goes towards the light and just says, "It's just too far," because that's me. I'm very much like what Josh said. I don't watch that show. I don't watch the news either. But also, I'm so lazy that I'm just like, that would be too far. I've got to walk. No, I'll stay here. I've got like, snacks.
Oh, I like
like,
that. Oh dear. And how about you, Brian? Have you got a favourite one-liner?
Those were totally the top two for me, but I also do in the ending, in the auto shop ending, when Anton gets crushed and the two friends, and Seth Green's delivery of just saying "Sweet Jesus," and then the other one saying, he's like, "In my defense, that thing should have come down a whole lot slower." Just kind of commenting on like, yeah, that probably shouldn't have happened.
How many kids have died under that thing?
Oh, definitely. The one-liner that got me was, I think at the end they say, "As usual, marijuana saves an otherwise disastrous day." But the one that got me and really made me laugh was, "I'm going to call 911. What's the number?" I was like, that is something that I would say. You can see it happening. So I felt like seen in that moment. So I was like, yeah, that would be me. And just one last quick question. I'm just really interested to see what you think. But obviously the team who made it chose to go down like a practical effect route rather than CGI, and like obviously for its time, so I think around that time, correct me if I'm wrong, you had like King Kong come out, and I don't think that's aged particularly well with all the CGI. So do you think they made the right choice doing like practical effects, Brian?
I feel like my answer to this question in every context will always be yes. Yeah, I think specifically the hand, like it's a great performance of that hand, and then the details as well of that we described of in that opening bed scene when the blood splatter and the kids in the car with the blood splatter. There's something so viscerally satisfying about that, the practical splatter of it all.
Yeah,
so it really melds well with the physical comedy aspect. Like if it was a CGI blood splatter, like it takes me out.
Yeah, no, definitely. How about you, Josh? Did you like that the practical
Loved
effects
it.
were used? Yeah.
100%. Yeah, the gnarlier the better. Yeah, don't need any CGI blood and guts.
No.
No, no,
The
no.
finger sharpening was
Yes.
so
Oh my
good.
god.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's like my nails when I grow them. They're like, I've cut them at the moment, so they're all
Although
right.
the bit when the hand was in the microwave was pretty grisly. Like that actually
Oh
was tough.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It
Like
kind
even
of.
Devon Sawyer was like, oh.
Anytime someone puts something in a microwave like that, it always just reminds me of Gremlins, like straight away. Just straight away think of that. Oh, hi Emma, we miss you. Emma's just popped on the chat. How about you, Karen? Are you glad they use practical effects rather than CGI?
Yeah, same as the guys. Every single time I want the practical effects, because even CGI, you can tell about a year or two later, you can see the edges. And I think it ages much quicker than if you just get a bucket of blood and chuck it at the screen. So even the ones that look shonky now, they're funnier because they look shonky. I'm a big fan of watching like all of the pre, like what people were like when they were a kid making movies.
Yeah.
We'll mispronounce his name until the end of time, but M. Night Shyamalan
Yeah.
has made a whole bunch where he was like 13 making movies in his house, and it's just got like a little radio controlled mask on top of some wheels that comes around, and you just see his hand come out and grab his own ankle, and then he goes whoa, and then comes off his sofa. And to this day I'm like, that is still quite scary but also hilarious because you can tell it's him, you can tell it's a hand, you can tell it's a radio controlled mask, but it's still just really insane to watch. And if you watch something else that's got CGI, a few years down the road, it just becomes like you're watching a 3D movie and it's come out of your vision and taking you out of the film slightly. So
yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I've definitely, I'm more of a fan of practical effects than I realised I was, if that makes sense. Like over the time, like especially when we've been doing like movie club and we've watched like American Werewolf and stuff like that, and the werewolf transformation. Like, there's no way you could ever achieve the way they did that with CGI. It just wouldn't work. So yeah, I think, and also it hasn't. I don't feel like it aged the film because they didn't use the CGI, so it didn't age it. And so I think it still works really well. So I was like, yeah, I like this. Practical effects for the win.
Yeah. Well, this was like,
you can almost see that they're really excited to like chuck that.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Josh?
Just like this was the same year as Deep Blue Sea and The Mummy, and obviously Phantom Menace, like really big blockbuster, like CGI blockbusters, and we watch them now and they do just look like pixels, you know.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned like King Kong, because like I think I rewatched that a couple of months ago and I was like, wow, like when this first came out I was like, wow, this is amazing, and now I'm like, oh dear, like hasn't aged well at all. Like you can just see it's really bad, but I guess that's just because we've got used to better CGI as we've got older. But yeah, practical effects. I mean, how they do King Kong with practical effects is another question, but you know.
That'd be a very elaborate audition process.
How tall are you? Okay, you've got the job.
You've got it. Yeah. Dawn's put she loved this film as a kid. Was this the same year as The Matrix?
Yeah, it was.
Oh.
And actually, The Matrix has really held up.
Yeah, that's not too bad actually.
It does use the CGI quite sparingly, I think, and it's not like monsters and stuff, which maybe helps a little bit. Maybe it's like physical textiles. Rather than,
Oh, interesting. So overall, then, are you happy that you revisited the film, or do you wish? Oh no, Shelley, because this was kind of me and Brian chatting, and we was like, should we do a Christmassy horror film? No, let's do this film instead. So, are you glad that you revisited it, Brian?
I'm so delighted. It really was. I was expecting it to not hold up as much as it did, so I was delighted for the nostalgia to kick in. Obviously, like we talked about, things about it certainly I wouldn't even
Yeah.
say didn't age well because they were not great even at the time. But it was such a treat to go back to this and just be like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I remember.
Oh, how about you, Josh? Are you glad that you
Yeah,
revisited it?
I was really
Yeah.
excited to watch this again because I genuinely had so little memory of watching it the first time. And yeah, it's like one that I watched once and never watched again. I think I was more into like the more of a slashery type
Mm,
vibe in those years, and more like female
yeah.
centric stories, weirdly, than male centric stories. I think I was more into.
Mm,
But I'm glad that I've watched it again, and it's definitely like this complete glom of weirdness. But
mm.
I think I would watch it again after this.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. How about you, Karen? You glad you revisited it? We all know she's going to
Yeah.
say yes because Devon.
I am, but also because I'd watched it, like you suggested to me to go and watch it on Prime because they had it on there. I've had it for ages, and I think I must have either lost or given away at some point the VHS tape that I've had for it. But I've
Yeah.
only seen it on VHS up until today when I watched it on my big screen TV.
Yeah.
And just the
Oh,
difference of
amazing.
being able to see some of the stuff in the background that you can't see on VHS because it's a little bit more crackly.
Yeah.
Just seeing all the little
Yeah.
background sections, like you can see, I think the scene that you were talking about before in the car, you can actually
Mm.
see to the side the reflection of the person who's coming up with the hand.
Yeah.
I would never have spotted that watching it on VHS, but now you can see it, and it just makes it even funnier for me seeing how
Yeah.
they did certain shots and not being able to get it out of the shot and stuff. So
Oh, I
it was
love that.
more entertaining.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. No, I'm glad we revisited. I'm glad we was chatting about it, Brian, and we were like, yeah, let's do it because I'm so glad that I watched it again because it was really nostalgic as well to watch it, and yeah, and funny. I really
All those
laughed. Like,
90s jokes, all those
yeah,
references like Baywatch and stuff.
yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh, it's just nostalgic fun. It was brilliant. But thank you for coming on and chatting about it. It's been really great, and I've been loving hearing like your favourite bits and stuff. So yeah, so thank you, and thank you, Brian, for being our special guest. Do check out Candy Cane Kills, your
It's so
festive
good. I
treat
loved
in
it.
your stocking. Yeah, Josh was like, "Have you read it yet, Shelley?" And I'm like, "I'm saving it for Christmas." Because I wasn't meant to get it. It came early in the end, and I wasn't meant to get it till like around now anyway. So I was like, when I break up from work, which I have now, this is my treat. So that can't wait. Yes.
Thank you so much for having me. This was an absolute
Oh,
treat. Yeah,
thanks,
thank
Brian. You
you.
have to come back again, and we'll do some other weird and wacky film that we decide is not very festive. Oh, and if someone messaged me and they're like, "This that's not a festive film, Shelley, for Christmas," I was like, "Yeah." Went rogue.
It's quite green. It's quite green,
Yeah,
green and red.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I put green lights on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and thanks as always, Josh. So do check out Josh's books.
Thank
You know,
you.
perfect stocking fillers to read about death on Christmas. And puppets, murderous
Yeah.
puppets. Yeah. And
Oh my God, we
also,
didn't talk about the puppet in the film. I completely
Yep.
forgot
puppet.
about that
Yeah.
puppet.
There was a puppet.
Yeah, the hand
hand
like the
puppet.
puppet near the end.
Oh
Which I
yeah,
thought was an idiotic idea for it to go, considering how clever it is.
I
It goes,
forgot
oh, I'll
about
go into
that.
like a straight jacket for itself.
Yeah.
Behold the end. It's captured.
I forgot about the puppet bit. Oh dear. Oh, has anyone watched Gen V? By the way, it's like the boys spin-off. There's a brilliant puppet scene in it, Josh.
Mm.
You'd love it.
Oh, cool.
You kind of need to have what you could probably watch it as on its own, but
Okay.
to understand some of the storyline, need to have seen the boys. But there's like this. Honestly, it's such a good puppet scene. If I can just find that scene, I'll send it to you because it's really
Yes, please.
cool. And Karen, thank you for stepping in for Emma while she's been busy at the shop.
Can't feel that's
I was like, who else could I ask to do this chat? And I thought, no, it's got to be Karen because of Devon. So yeah. So thank you very much. But thanks, guys, and have
Thanks,
a
Shirley.
lovely, lovely Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
Thank you.
I'll see you next week. Josh, you're not getting away.
Oh yeah, that's true. See you next week.
See you later. Bye. Bye.